When I bought the world's largest TV, I was blown away by its 20,000 LED dimming zones. That means less bloom around bright objects, and in some cases, superior contrast to just about anything on the market. But the new biggest TV in the world, the Hisense 116UX, has unprecedented color volume, leading to, in some cases, vastly superior contrast, even compared to this. And that's especially true when it's displaying glowing or colorful objects. How could I possibly hope to choose between them? It really is a tough call, even after reviewing all of the extensive lab testing we did, more on that later, of what we consider to be an early preview of what RGB backlight technology has to offer. Hisense is clearly a pioneer in the space, but Sony and Samsung aren't far behind, and I can't wait to see what competition brings to this space. But right now, there isn't any competition, so after careful consideration, God, I hadn't actually looked at them side by side yet. I still think the Hisense pulls away. You guys have a plan for helping me get the TCL out of here, right?
Yeah, we take that one off the wall.
And then we put this one on the wall.
Right. Did we keep all the packing materials for that?
No.
We'll get into the details later. For now, we've got a TV to move. We've got another TV to tell you guys all the deep technical details about, and we're gonna tell you about our sponsor.
Nexigo, perfect for when space is limited, their Nova Mini projector is small and lightweight while being able to project 1080p images of up to 150 inches in size, because even your small apartment has big walls. Check it out at our link in the description.
Oh man. Oh crap. God, it would throw this video for a loop if I ultimately didn't choose the Hisense. I think TCL looks so sharp and poppy because it has more local dimming zones. Things like these torches just pop off of the screen in a way that, the Hisense doesn't.
To be fair to Hisense, we reached out about the dimming zone count and they responded by saying that while there are 3,584 zones, they claim a count of 10,752 thanks to each individual RGB element per mini-LED, which helps reduce the perception of any minimal blooming. We think that while that sounds great in theory, in practice it still falls short of our own expectations, and we'd love to see the same technology coupled with a higher traditional zone count. I tried to tell you when I saw the dimming zone count that it wasn't going to be enough. Incredible TV, don't get me wrong. But I don't know, I lean towards the TCL, and you know, it's already mounted. The TCL's already up there. And because of the testing, I do have some other numbers to give you that, you know, might change your mind on things.
Oh my God.
Are you leaning towards the TCL? I thought you would. I was surprised when you picked this one so quickly. Like,
I hadn't actually looked at them side by side yet.
you had all week. You had like a week and a half.
Do you know how heavy this thing is? Oh crap. What if this video changes from RGB backlight is obviously the future to RGB backlight could very well be the future, but it has a little ways to go?
I think it's the second one. There are some major advantages of this one.
Okay, he hasn't shown me all the numbers yet.
Okay, look, final test, put on a normal non-animated movie.
Okay, I'll do that.
Let's do that, and then we'll do the review, and then we can decide what we do.
Okay.
Well, you can decide what you do. I've already got a decision made.
Oh my God, look at this. Look at this. I think this might be a deal breaker. Look at this blue backlight zone right here.
Oh crap, I can.
Down here, Meanwhile over here, thanks to having over 5 times the number of dimming zones, we can't really make out the dimming zones around these highlights. Now, I'm not saying that RGB backlight is bad because of this. It's probably the future of backlit displays. But because these zones are so big, ooh, Nelly. Oh, that might be a deal breaker. And if it wasn't, the motion performance. I noticed it very much in games, but I didn't think it'd be a problem in movies. It's pretty bad. We are aware that this is not running in Dolby Vision for some reason. We can't get it running in Dolby Vision, so we're gonna have a look at an HDR10 piece of content before we make a final decision _final. but it's not looking good right now.
If I had to pick, I'd choose the TCL.
TCL's not perfect either.
No, of course not. Linus, mini LED is amazing, but it's not as good as OLED, or QD OLED for that matter. And as much as RGB mini LED is probably gonna all over regular mini LED, even once the Sony model comes out in 6 months or whatever, OLED's still king. I don't know.
Oh, there's so much more bloom around him. Can you see it? He looks like an angel. You're enjoying this way too much.
I like when I'm right. You know, it's not often. You're right about a lot of things, but I was pretty confident about this one. You're like, nah, it's amazing. We were dealing with the gaming with the bad MPRT, and I'm like, I don't know, Linus. And you're like, nah, it's okay. It looks good still.
It is amazing, and it does look good still.
It does.
Incredible TV.
It is.
We are losing so much less detail in the shadows on the Hisense.
It's also brighter in the background as well.
Oh no.
I've provided you all of the commentary I believe I can at this point. I've given you all the measurements. I've stated my piece.
You know how we notice it seems lower res? Yeah. Look at the play icon here.
Yeah, that
Look how sharp that looks.
And it's because of the dimming zones. You're not getting that light bleed coming out of the button, making it look like softer.
But just their processing. You know how it's felt kind of lower res the whole time? I think TCL's processing is just winning here. They both have pros and cons.
Yeah.
I can't decide.
Okay.
Crazy idea.
Oh no.
I flip a coin.
Oh, okay. We fake the results, right?
You know I would never do that.
Up there, but I would.
You know I would.
Please,
never do that.
Linus, I don't want to take the TCL down and then put the Hisense up. What are these? Where'd you get this from?
This is a 9999 purity silver coin.
Oh, cool.
And it's for my water cooling loop.
Oh, because silver kills stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. All right.
Okay.
So, okay.
You haven't called it yet.
I so desperately want to just keep the TCL there. I really don't like this. This is a 50-50 chance now. Heads is what? Heads is the TCL? Heads is the TCL?
Sure.
Okay. Oh, yes! Oh! Oh, thank God! Oh!
Honestly, it's not really a judgment against the Hisense yet at this point.
No.
This is a really cool technology. Let's talk about it in a little bit more depth.
Do you want to drop it there?
Yep.
You may have seen in the last video that we were not able to validate a couple of the spec claims that Hisense made about their latest and greatest, and even after spending more time with it, that remains true today. But that doesn't mean it's all bad, so let's run through everything, starting with SDR. The 116UX and, it seems, RGB mini LED in general are capable of stupid high brightness. However, we're still limited to a bit over 1100 nits in a 100% window. With that said, that's almost 300 nits brighter than my TCL. It's kind of crazy that full field white in SDR surpasses what top tier OLEDs were achieving in 1% peaks just a few years ago. As for accuracy, we measured an average Delta E 2000 of 1.74 using the BT709 color space. And that's only as high as it is because of this big blue spike over here. A lot of these swatches are under 1. The Hisense handily beats the TCL in SDR content. As for if you're using this thing for HDR, as the good manufacturer intended, it peaked at 6,500 nits in vivid mode, which unfortunately looks gross, but lost 1,000 nits if it's used in filmmaker mode, which is well shy of Hisense's 8,000 nit claims. The good news though is it is tracking light very nicely. In filmmaker mode, our PQ EOTF curve isn't perfect, but dang is it ever close. And while most other modes didn't test this well, HDR game mode was surprisingly close. Want a game on this thing? Zero compromises. At least with respect to color or brightness. More on that later. Because there's another area where Hisense fell short of their big claims with respect to the performance of this TV. And that's the 95% coverage of the BT 2020 color space. With that said, we do hit 92.5%, which is still flipping wild. And it wouldn't surprise me if the missing nits would basically have given us the missing 2.5%, because a big part of that coverage is color volume, which comes from brightness. Unfortunately, we'll never know. The good news is that even in HDR, it is accurately displaying that 92.5% color volume. It's no Flanders Scientific XMP 550, but a Delta E average ITP of 9.81 in filmmaker mode is very respectable for what is not only the biggest TV in the freaking world, but also literally the first TV to use RGB mini-LED. Unfortunately for Hisense, my TCL is also really good. Which brings us to gaming. Unfortunately, it's still a big old VA panel. That's why the viewing angles aren't great. But the bigger issue for me with this set is that our pixel response times aren't great either. We measured an average of 8.5 millisecond, which is fine, but a maximum of over 46 milliseconds. When you compare that to even a reasonably spec'd IPS monitor, let alone an OLED of any sort, it's a bit of a smear fest, even at the 165 Hz refresh rate. No, the script says I'm exaggerating a bit, but I'm not. It was very noticeable even when watching films, which for me is normally not that big of a deal. Not all the time, but every once in a while when you caught one of those really unfavorable transitions, you go, whoa, what was that? That's a yikes. Thankfully, at least for gamers, this is partially salvaged by their minimal input latency with a measurement of just 4.6 milliseconds. That is 1.5 milliseconds over a theoretical perfect score. So remember, the latency is how long it takes for our input to start showing up on the screen, and the motion pixel response time, or MPRT, is how long it takes for the pixels of the screen itself to finish changing over to that input frame. All of this really does feel like splitting hairs though. I mean, modern display technology is kind of magical, and it's already hard to process the color filtering and backlight dimming that goes on with an OLED or, for the backlight, with a mini-LED backlit display. So with RGB mini-LED, now we're talking about mixing color for over 20,000 little RGB backlight clusters, as well as dictating how bright or dim each individual color should look. And while the new HiView AI Engine X, that's their processor, is good, I can clearly see why they didn't bring this technology to their entire lineup all at once, because I think with a little more processing and hopefully some more zones, which would be enabled by said processing, it could be a little better. With that said, Sony and Samsung are both working on this technology, as we mentioned before, and Sony in particular has been known for having excellent image processing. So I'll be curious to see how their set holds up against the 116UX. Who knows? If the processing being a little bit better is what pushes it over the edge, maybe the 116UX would have held out for the win. Either way, it was damn close, and they have some smaller versions coming. A 100-inch that's supposed to be a full $10,000 cheaper at only $20,000, so maybe not that one for most people, but they also showed off an 85-inch that they didn't give pricing on, and we know the way that TV prices scale as you go down in size. Who knows? Give it, a couple more shrinks and maybe a couple more years, and this could be the TV technology of the future. Especially because, OLED's been stuck at 97 inches max for ages. So thank you, Hisense, for sending over what could very well be the TV of the future. Part of me still, even just looking at this scene that's up here right now, wishes it was the TV of today. I really don't know who I was rooting for in that coin flip. Other than our sponsor.
Nexigo. You know what they say, big things come in small packages. Look at this channel. And that's true of Nexigo's Nova Mini projector too. It's only about 2 inches thick and weighs in at around 3 pounds, which you could probably eat, meaning it's compact enough to fit into most backpacks and great for smaller rooms and apartments. Screens of up to 150 inches in size can be projected with up to 1200 lumens of brightness at a 1080p resolution from this little sucker. They even threw some 8-watt speakers, making it a great all-in-one solution. And if you're taking it on the go, you can power it via the USB-C port with any old power bank. Click our link in the description and head over to lmg.gg/Nova Mini to pick one up for yourself today.
If you guys enjoyed this video and you watched part 2 before you watched part 1, come on, what are you doing? go and watch part 1 where we unboxed this absolute monster of a TV and got our first impressions. It really is impressive.